Hi, everyone. Ashley Mailloux might be here with the Daily Racing Forum, taking a look at race number 10 this Saturday at Churchill Downs. It's a 5.5 furlong turf sprint. It's a grade 3 event for the 3-year-old fillies, the Mamzelle Stakes, and it's overfilled. 17 entered in the spot, so you have 14 in the main body of the field. And the main talking point is, how do you assess the limestone last out? Because it feels like just about everyone in this field exits that same event.
Yeah, exactly. 8 of these horses, I think, ran in the limestone last month, and they're all right back in here, sort of a similar kind of race here, 5.5 on the turf. So, how do you evaluate it? I'm going to ask you that question, Ashley, because here's my take on it. When I watched it, I was kind of shocked that the winner of the race, She's So Spicy, kind of got loose on the lead in there. I didn't handicap the race that way. I didn't think there was any chance that the Wesley Ward horse was going to be rated Dream Away, and she was. And I kind of feel like I'm still not buying into She's So Spicy, even though she never loses.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying into her in the top spot. I think she's a must-use. We saw her speed last time out, and I will say they gave her the lead, but with some moisture in the turf course, she still went sub 45 to the half. So I do want to give her a little bit of credit in that field. But I don't know. I think the tough thing for me was looking at, say, the horses that finished in the back half of the field. What made me think that they're going to step up here? I really didn't know what to make out of those horses because they weren't closing, a lot of them. So it's a little bit of a tough call, and we will take a look at that replay a little bit later. But looking at the time, form, pace projections, you could see a similar setup here, assuming that Dream Away decides they're going to sit again. She's So Spicy looks to be the clear pace setter.
She does in a lot of ways too. And again, listen, I don't really want to knock her too much because all she does is win and run fast races. But I'll say it again. I'll be shocked if Dream Away rates this time and concedes the lead to her. Dream Away is a really fast horse. Johnny Velasquez last time in the limestone just decided he wasn't going to go, and he tried to track, and he was only second best. Joe Bravo takes over here. He's drawn inside of She's So Spicy. He needs to be on ascend here.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't know who's technically quicker. I think when you look at the race two back from She's So Spicy, you go, okay, she went sub 44 to the half. Maybe she's a little quicker than Dream Away, but it all depends on the course, and there's so many factors into it that I think they're pretty, in my opinion, on par in terms of early foot. So we'll see what the tactics are in this event on Saturday at Churchill. But let's dive into it. The number one, Larice, kicks it off, a horse that was towards the back of the pack. And that sort of trip worked out okay in the Melody of Colors, but that certainly didn't work out last time in the limestone.
Yeah, I just really could never get involved. I'm starting to worry about her now that she's sort of lost her early speed. I mean, she used to be able to get forward in her races, and I thought as a younger horse, I thought she had a lot of potential. And so far, she hasn't delivered on as a 3-year-old. I guess she ran fine 2 starts back, but I didn't like her performance last time, even though that race really held together up front. I personally thought, and it sounds like maybe we disagree about that a little bit, I thought the closers were badly compromised in the limestone, and I'd be willing to give them another chance in here. I just don't like Larice's recent form.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really tough call. I kind of looked at her a little bit as maybe a horse having a shot at a minor in the limestone. It just didn't pan out that way. Now, the two in this field also exits the limestone, and this is where I get a little concerned. The fact that She's So Spicy, Dream Away were in front of her. She chased and she faltered. I don't know. The race at the fairgrounds when she broke her maiden, I thought it was a good performance, but obviously went a lot slower, almost 47 to the half. So for me, when I looked at her last time, I liked her a little bit. I can't back her off the limestone.
No, me either. You weren't the only one who liked her last time. I mean, she went off at 6-1 in that field. I mean, she took plenty of money in there. She got forward. She chased the leaders. She was absolutely no match in that race. I agree with you. She's one of the horses out of the limestone I want nothing to do with.
The three, Abiento. We'll take a look at the limestone now. We've talked about it twice now. We'll talk about it with her now. She was one of the closers. She was rolling from off of it, and I thought she was going to get up for second in here. I didn't feel like they were going to catch She's So Spicy, and it's a good performance from her. I'd like to see her just a tad closer to it in this race. But, for a horse that maybe 5.5 wasn't going to be the right distance for her, I think she proved that she can still be competitive even at a shorter sprint distance.
Yeah, I agree. I think she ran pretty well in here. She is a closing sprinter. You know what you're kind of going to get now in these shorter races. She doesn't have a lot of early speed, but she will fire late in her races. I thought she ran really well again last time. Her first start off the layoff. Now she's second off the layoff. I thought she was one of the major players in this race.
The 4, Kilwin, up next with 6th in the limestone. And curious to get your thoughts on how the trip worked out, because if I'm not mistaken, this is a horse that you backed and really liked in that event.
I liked her in that race. She took a ton of money in there. I didn't think she was going to be 5-2 in that race, but she was. I don't think she ran great. I don't want to defend her too much, but she did have the far outside post. Again, I just don't feel like I'm not sort of focusing so much on the fractions of the limestone. Even if you look at the time form US PPs, they have the early pace color coded red like it was a fast pace. I don't care. It wasn't. I look at paces not whether they're fast or slow, whether they're hard or they're easy. It was easy for She's So Spicy. They didn't pressure her, and I thought again the closers were compromised. Kilwin was wide around the track. She ran on to about mid stretch, and she got a little tired. Looked to me like a horse who maybe needed to start off the layoff. I'm just going to keep the faith here and think that she's going to run way better in here.
The 5 Machaya here tried the dirt last time out on the Rags to Riches back in the fall at Churchill. But prior to that, the 2 turf efforts, they're not bad. I guess my concern would be the true sprint 6.5 was at Kentucky Downs, then stretched out to the route race. And she did not disappoint. She took actually some money, I would say, in the Jessamine and finished 4th, beaten by 2.5. I'm just not sure now on a traditional sort of layout, sprinting on the turf first off the layoff, if I can endorse her.
It'll be interesting to see what she does though. She's if you're looking for a long shot, I think she will be a long shot in here. I think she's a horse to at least keep an eye on. The Kentucky Downs races are really tough to evaluate, but I thought she looked really good winning first time out, and then I just thought she had a really tough trip in the Jessamine and ran way better than it looked. I'm not sure how good she is actually, but she could be really good, and she's going to be a price in here.
The 6 Dream Away, we talked about the trip in the limestone, didn't really press She's So Spicy. And I'm curious to get your thoughts here now. Different rider, Joe Bravo, climbs aboard, hasn't been aboard her before. Do you have a feeling they're going to be a little bit more aggressive to get her kind of hustling and to apply pressure?
I think they almost have to do it after the result last time. I mean, they conceded to the winner and then they almost caught her at the end, but they just couldn't quite track her down. They're drawn inside of her this time. I just think they have to go this time and use her speed. I think the main concern I had with her actually is I thought her race at Santa Anita, when I know it was against Mailloux, I just didn't think that she ran that well that day, but she's fast. When she broke her maiden in the stakes race, or I mean her turf day, when she won her turf debut in the stakes race at Monmouth, she was flying on the lead of that race. This horse is fast. They got to use her speed.
The 7 is up next. Benrati Manor here for the Arnold Barn. Was 6th last time out in the Sanibel Island. Now she is cross-undered in a spot at Belmont at Aqueduct the same day. And I don't know how to assess her. I mean, I'm willing to draw a line through the debut. Obviously, a horse's kind of target that race for that win and you're in berth to the races at Royal Ascot. And then her next 2 I loved. Last time out, though, she was part of the pace. And I just think maybe it was the distance. Maybe it was the 2 turns, or maybe she is just more comfortable sitting off of it.
Yeah, maybe she is. We'll see if she runs here. We'll see what kind of trip she can get. I just felt like she was one of the horses who really had to improve if she was going to beat this field. This is a tough spot for her. Rusty Arnold does great job overall. Does really good job with turf sprinters. So I like her cutting back a little bit, but this isn't an easy spot.
The 8 and 8 2, I think, out of the limestone. Ran very well. Didn't take a lot of respect there, and I can understand why. Right, and then the fact that this was a horse that was just making the first start off the ship. Right, this horse was racing in Great Britain prior to that, and I thought she ran pretty well. All in all, got an 81 by her speed figure, and just feels like she's the type of filly that can take a step forward.
Yeah, yeah, right. I thought she was another one who I didn't really know what to do with in here because I don't think I loved her European form, but it did feel like her final 2 starts over there late last year. I feel like they were maybe the 2 best ones. And then she came over last time. Man, she was cruising around the turn in there in a good spot. I thought she looked really dangerous when that field came into the stretch, and she just kind of wasn't good enough in there and flattened out a little bit. Maybe she really moves forward second off the layoff.
And you bring up a point about her form towards the end of her 2-year-old season. Look at just the different in the contrast. 2024, 13 starts. Go look at the fillies in here and see how many appearances they made as a 2-year-old. So just a little bit of an interesting note with her. We'll move to the number 9, She's So Spicy, who for some reason, Mike, you're not a fan of her. I know she wins a lot, but I think you have some reservations that someday she's going to get really pressed, and that's going to be when we see her get defeated.
Yeah, I'll be wrong about her again. I don't care. I'm wrong about horses all the time. She's 2 for 2 on turf. She's won those races easily both times. To me, she also had all the best of it both times. I don't care what the fractions look like. She was loose on the lead in those races and made those fields pay. I'm hoping they don't let her get loose this time. I'm betting against her.
Yeah, and I think you have to. She's going to be a short price in here, right? You have to look elsewhere, I think, in terms of value just to begin with. The 10 Bon Fee for Vicky Oliver. Was able to graduate at Colonial sprinting on the grass, and since then just really hasn't taken a step forward. The figures have been either similar or they've dropped and just hasn't been able to close. So obviously this one is cutting back in distance. So if you like her, that's probably a big reason to like her, right? Is the cutback, but I'm not sure how to assess what she, beat at Colonial and where she is at now.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess the silver lining is that she is 1 for 1 sprinting on the grass. So maybe this is what she wants to do. She better run a lot faster.
The 11 serving time for Cherie DeVoe, also cross centered in that same race at Belmont at Aqueduct, has been able to get a little bit of a win streak, was able to graduate 2 starts back, then caps off the 2-year-old campaign with another win. And like that, we saw, a little bit of a difference in terms of trip. I felt like in the maiden race, they decided to keep her 2-3 lengths off of it, and she's a little further back, but just has a pretty good kind of closing kick with her races. And if the pace is hot, maybe she could pick up a piece.
Yeah, I think she is pretty dangerous in here too. I'm very interested. I'll be interested too to see where they decide to run her because I could use her in this race, but I'm kind of hoping they run her in the race in New York because I probably like her even more in that race. I really like her last 2 races. She has a huge pedigree. First of all, she's bred to be a good horse, and she has almost instant acceleration. I do feel like you kind of got to time it right. Doesn't seem like she has a long run in her, but she is quick when you ask her to go, and she really runs. I don't know. I think she's dangerous here or in New York.
The 12 Savetta up next for Brendan Walsh, Godolphin, bred and owned, a horse that they've tried to make a 2-turn horse as of late. And I think going back to her sprint races, that makes her maybe a big contender in here. She necessarily wasn't beating some of these horses, but competitive against Abiento, Kilwin, especially in her second career start in the Untappable. I don't know. I think she's sneaky in here, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think she is a contender in this race. I'm not sure that I love her cutting back in distance. I think it's just a really hard thing to do, especially when you've gone 2 turns in 4 straight races. Now they're going to cut her all the way back to sprint. That's not easy to overcome. Her sprints were fine early on, I thought, but Kilwin, I thought, was way better than her at Kentucky Downs. And even though it was close with Abiento, I thought Abiento ran way better than she did in the matron, too.
The 13, Lovely Emma, another one that's cross-centered in New York, has been able to win one of her 4 starts, but I do think she's at least worth talking about. She's also quick, and I'm very curious with the draw. I think Timeform had her in maybe third or fourth early. Could she be pressing She's So Spicy early?
That's a really good question. I don't know if she's fast enough, but all of her races so far, they've just used her speed and gone forward. And I would kind of be surprised if they switch that up now, right off of a maiden win, if they're going to run her in a stakes race. Maybe she's a wild card in here. Actually, I wasn't convinced she was good enough to beat these horses.
And then rounding out the main body of the field is the 14, Me Governor. And, I know you're not the huge fan of She's So Spicy. Me Governor is a horse that I feel like I'm always on the losing end of. I've lost faith in and have kind of jumped off the train. And I don't know how to assess the limestone. It was an okay performance, but I just feel like in these last couple, the word I would use is even. Just doesn't matter. Dirt, turf, just doesn't have any punch.
I think I agree with that. I mean, when you go back and watch the limestone, I mean, I don't know that I love that Jose Ortiz just sort of had her, 4 wide around the track and they're sitting on the outside. That didn't do her any favors, but I'm kind of with you too. She made a run at it and was sort of surging, but just never looked like she was going to get there. I mean, I guess I wouldn't knock her, Ashley, because I feel like she is going to be a good price in here again. I don't know. I just kind of wanted other horses.
And then looking at the others here in the also eligibles, the 15, Stay Classy, the 6, Anna Karina, and the 17, Hey Birdie, looking for scratches to get in. I think, in my opinion, maybe the most intriguing of them all is probably Stay Classy, depending if this one were to draw in. Again, maybe could be a horse that's pressing the situation early.
Yeah, maybe we'll see if she does get in. It'd be hard for her maybe to get the trip that she wants in here from the outside post. I don't know, man. I thought the body of this race was way too strong for me to get interested in the AEs.
All right, we'll see which 14 make the starting gate this Saturday at Churchill. It's the grade 3 Mamzelle. Time for our top picks, and you're sticking with your guns. You've used Kilwin last time out in the limestone and looking for this one to take a step forward.
Hoping for a better trip this time. If she gets it, I think she can go with these horses, and hopefully she won't be a short price this time. I'd like to see her drift a little bit and go off a better price. Abiento, to me, your top pick. I think she's super dangerous in here, and in some ways, I kind of think she's the horse to beat because she's really talented. I'm against the speeds in this race, Ashley. If serving time runs here, I'm using her, but I'm hoping she runs in New York.
And you can see for me, the speeds I use underneath just based on the limestone performance alone. But you bring up a great point. If these two duel, or if there's someone else in there, Lovely Emma, that presses the situation, I think that's what puts Abiento in that sort of a horse maybe beat in this field. So you can see we only have, one horse in common. So a very good betting race this Saturday at Churchill. 4, 3, 11, 6 for Mike. 3, 9, 8, 12 for me. Best of luck.